Alright, hello YouTube. So today I'm going to be talking about the presidential debate that occurred last night, the second presidential debate, and hopefully, God willing, the last that we will be subjected to before, it's all over. So just like with the first one, I only really caught I didn't really watch all of them, but just like the first one, I was struck with how in both debates it seemed like the candidates were competing with each other to see who could be like the most reactionary, the most conservative, politically, economically, or environmentally especially. And really just in every regard, it seemed like they were both competing to see like who was actually most to the extreme right. So like it's pretty shocking to me that these people are supposed to represent different parties from different ends of the political spectrum when, you have Joe Biden like disavowing any claim to be critical of fracking, which is like an extremely destructive environmental practice, like being completely disavowing any affiliation to something like a universal medical insurance program. In the first debate, they were both like very dismissive. They're like speaking over each other in order to like get their digs in on Mr. Bernie Sanders. So really, in both cases, it was in both debates, it was really shocking to me, like that these people are supposed to represent different ends of the political party, and it made me think about this concept that we've been hearing a lot about, the Overton window, and during this summer of riots, there was a lot of speculation and a lot of talk about how dramatically and suddenly the Overton window shifted to the left because the phrase defund the police suddenly was on everybody's lips. It was like a talking point in mainstream media, like suddenly, apropos of nothing. And excuse me, it was really it's just really hilarious to me that leftists are talking about this concept of the Overton window shifting to the left as though that were in any way a real phenomenon. After these last two debates, it seems very clear to me that in fact the Overton window is extremely on the right end of the spectrum. I guess this is not really a new claim. People have been saying this for a long time, but it is very stark how much liberal discourse in the United States and basically everywhere is like firmly on the right end of the spectrum, and how unwilling so-called progressive candidates like Joe Biden are to give any kind of lip service, any kind of concession to anything, any policy program or any like political agenda coming from the left. And I think it really goes to show how this concept of the Overton window is just so strictly bound up in liberal discourse. Like it is fundamentally an idea that relates, to the confines of liberal discourse. So even like extreme conservatives are able to, make use of the malleability of this Overton window, and they're able to shift it. They have shifted it to their end of the political spectrum. Because, as I've said many times on this channel, the extreme right doesn't need to have, like, it's an irrational ideology, and they don't actually want to do any kind of like world building in the political or in the public sphere, because the working class knows that extreme right, like reactionary politics is in fact very harmful to them, and the extreme right knows this as well, so they are very invested in keeping their real agenda a secret, and because it's an irrational ideology, they have no compunctions about making strategic use of the terms of liberal discourse. So that's why you have like extreme right people, extreme conservatives, reactionaries in like the area of mainstream media, talking like within those terms and shifting the window over to their side, making it like firmly on their side, because they have no compunctions about lying, about misrepresenting what they actually think, etc. Whereas, you know, from a left perspective, you can't really do the same thing. You can, if you want to be like a democratic socialist, if you want to be like a Bernie Sanders or an AOC or whatever, and like try to work within the system and shift things to the left gradually over time, then you're always going to be playing catch up to the extreme right, because, you know, even like liberal leftists like Bernie Sanders have like a greater allegiance to truth. They cannot be as strategically misleading as the right wingers, because, you know, it is like even liberal left's ideology wants to, like, its whole premise is building its worldview in front of the working class, like publicly, because they want the working, they believe correctly to some extent that leftists, even liberal leftist ideology is going to be beneficial to the majority of the population, the working class. So it is their strategy, it is their goal to, you know, develop their ideas in full view of the public, so that everybody can, you know, see that like things like Medicare for all are in fact in their best interests, etc. But really fundamentally, this concept of the Overton window is just confined to the parameters set by liberal discourse. So like as a leftist, as a true leftist, as a revolutionary, communist or anarchist or whatever, as a revolutionary, there is no fucking making use of this Overton window. Like, it is a parameter set and defined by liberal, like the liberalism as a political philosophy, as the hegemonic political regime is, you know, it encompasses right wing and left wing, obviously. Like contemporary Western civilization is a liberal civilization, whether or not, you know, you have like a conservative party or a like quote unquote liberal party in power, it's all the same thing. So like the whole discourse is defined by this liberal political philosophy, and the right wing has the advantage because they can be strategic and misleading and manipulative of the public. They can, and they're also just fucking bullies, like whatever. But as a leftist, as a revolutionary, like there's absolutely no making use of this framing. It's complete garbage. It's complete nonsense. And yeah, like it's just so frustrating, and it is such a waste of time. This is my stance on voting. I have never in my life voted in a political election. The most that I've done is vote for my university philosophy department's like executive board. I voted some friends who are running to like manage like 50 students. The philosophy department is very small. That's the most that I've ever voted for. And like my stance on voting is that if you are going to vote, it is between you and your God. It is not something to be discussed publicly. The correct stance regarding voting and, liberal elections is fuck them all. What you should do on November, whatever the fuck, I don't even give a shit about American politics. I don't know what the fucking date is, but what you should do is fucking burn down a polling booth and, try to destroy America. Death to all imperialist nations. And I think that, this whole attempting to work within this Overton window, within the confines of liberal discourse, is at an end. It is only serving the hegemon, the ruling classes, whether they're on the left or the right end of the spectrum. The debate last night demonstrably proved that they're both the same fucking thing. So quit trying to work within the confines of liberal discourse. This summer has proven that people, even if they are, to some extent subjected to this kind of discourse, the popular mainstream discourse, people want to move beyond that. You have people on both ends of the spectrums. You have fucking BLM rioters trying their damnedest to burn the goddamn nation to the ground. God bless them. And you have the fucking right-wing militias who are, killing people. So people don't want to fucking be confined by these shitty goddamn liberals anymore. And God bless them all, frankly. Fuck it all. Burn America to the ground. Death to America. Death to all imperialist nations.